pregnant with my landlord's baby. I'm not sure how to tell him or his girlfriend. I'm writing this on mobile at 4 AM, so sorry for any typos. The people involved in this situation are me, 26F landlord aka Luke, 28M landlord's girlfriend aka Jen, 28F. 2 years ago I met Luke at a bar. He was very flirty and eventually introduced me to his girlfriend who was also there that night. They told me about a kink Jen had of watching Luke FCK someone else and asked if I was down for it. I will admit I was attracted to Luke, so I went with it. We ended up going back to Luke's place and we had sex. We were doing this twice a week for 4 months before I started having problems with my roommate. By this point, me and Jen had become somewhat friends, so I was telling her about it and she suggested I move in with them. For the past 2 years, Jen occasionally watches Luke and I have sex. I've been having the usual pregnancy symptoms recently, so I took the test earlier tonight and it was positive. I'm freaking out right now and have no idea what to do. Jen has told me her and Luke have been fighting recently a lot and I'm scared this will ruin their relationship. How do I break the news to both of them? Please don't suggest abortion because I've considered it and I'm not sure I could go through with it. I think you just have to tell them, because if Jen is okay with the idea of Luke sleeping with another woman, then surely she has considered the possibility of Luke getting said third-party member knocked up. I assume no woman would go into an arrangement like this without considering this possibility. I mean, yeah, this could ruin their relationship. If I was a betting lady, I'd say yeah, this will end all the relationships, theirs and yours. But at this point the ship has already sailed. I would tell them about the pregnancy right away and start looking for another place to live. This is kinda one of those things where you've gotten yourself into a terribly complicated situation and there's not going to be an easy solution. 1. Before you tell them this, make arrangements to stay somewhere else afterwards for the night. Just in case they don't react well, ask your friend or family if you can stay with them. Especially since Jen is your roommate, things could get awkward. 2. Before you talk to them, make a plan for yourself. Make a plan for the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. Make a plan where you are all alone doing everything by yourself. Make a plan if both or only one of them is involved. Make a plan on what to do if you decide adoption is the best route. Make a plan if you decide to move back home with family. Look at how much you make and how much childcare cost. Make a plan. 3. Tell them at the same time in person. Have them over to your apartment. Tell them you are pregnant. Ask them what they intended to do going forward. This way you can start planning out your future ASAP. I would prepare for them to tell you they aren't interested in sticking around, or that they want you to have an abortion, since this news will upset you the most. 4. I am not trying to sound mean or anything, but in the future you need to have that "what will we do if I get pregnant tomorrow" talk with your sexual partners. I am shocked by the amount of people who don't have this conversation. This isn't the first time I've given this advice to someone this week, and it won't be the last. If you are mature enough to have sex, then you are mature enough to have this conversation. Next time discuss this with your partner once you decide you want to start having sex with them. It will save you a lot of stress and drama. Their relationship should be the least of your concerns in a moment like this. Why are you more concerned about their relationship than figuring out how you're going to provide for and give a stable life to this baby you're insisting on bringing into the world? Like you're about to be homeless and the sole person responsible for another life, and you're worrying about relationship drama. Is it okay to be single and have no sexual partners by choice? Is it okay to be single and want to just do you for a while? Like no FWBs to meet up with? I've been on a Tinder binge and have multiple FWBs, and to be honest it's kind of exhausting. Yeah, sex is awesome, but I feel like it's preventing me from growing as an individual and keeping me from meeting a special girl. Do any of you just have a dry spell by choice? Haha, that sounds ridiculous. It's just in our culture as men I feel there is always a pressure to get pussy or ass often, or you're a loser. I could care less what people think. I'm just wondering if other guys decide to be alone for hours to work on themselves and how it works out for them. Welcome to being an adult, where you can make choices for yourself and don't have to justify or explain them to anyone. Really, it's very mature thinking to want to spend time growing yourself and waiting for someone special, instead of the meaningless hookups, or doing anything meaningless. Don't stress if you want this, or if later, you do want to FWB. Just be happy. Yes, OFC. In general, you should only have sex with someone if you genuinely want to have sex, not because you feel pressured for whatever reason. Why would it not be okay? After my divorce, I was single for about a year before I tried to date. Had a few hookups, went on a bunch of dates, had a few girlfriends over the course of a few years. I found the whole thing exhausting. Sex was never worth the work, even if it was enjoyable, and relationships just felt like work to me. So I made the decision to not worry about any of that, to stop looking. If I was horny, there is a hand I can use. If I was lonely, there are friends and there is no pressure with them. I was single for 2 years. No hookups, no dates, no pressure or effort on my part. I got to know myself really well. I found hobbies and interests and was able to really focus on me. Then I met my now wife. It was great because there was no pressure, no effort, no work. We were old friends from high school. We met up online with zero romantic intent, and that led to meeting up in person. Neither of us thought for a moment that we were going into a romantic situation, but it just felt right. We have been together for 12 years now and we are both very happy. I can't imagine living my life without her in it. But that never would have happened had I kept trying to make something happen. I needed to stop looking for it to find me. I've been single for about 5 years and am on a self-proclaimed dry spell. I'm still horny but not enough. Sex is complicated. It's risky, pregnancy/disease, and hard to come by in quality. As a lady, finding an FWB is hard. You have to find someone you sexually vibe with, and before that you have to kiss a lot of frogs. The frogs are not worth it at all. Is this guy going to respect my boundaries? Will he care about my pleasure? Am I safe? Does he have anger management issues and will get mad/violent if I don't put out? Do I want this person to know where I live in case it goes sour? Do I want to go to his place? Will I be safe there? Will his place be clean? Sex is awesome and risky at the same time, and most of the time it is not great without love. It's mechanic. To do something mechanic, just masturbate, at least then you will get off for sure. As for sex, it's 50-50. And no, you aren't a lesser man for not having sex in a while. It's a 2 or more person activity, and if what you want to get out of it, pleasure, is not confirmed, then there's no reason to not do it. I, 26F, told my husband, 26 meters, that I won't be his wife if he got a sex change, and now he's hurt and angry at me for it. So a few days ago, my husband, 26 meters, and I, 26F, were having a late night chat, sort of what we have often, and he asked me a question: "Darling, would you still be with me and be attracted to me if I had a sex change?" I said no, and he took it very personally and felt really hurt. He said things like, "I thought you loved me for me and not for my looks and my sex." He terribly misunderstood what I said and felt really hurt. What I meant was that if my husband ever got a sex change, I would still really love him and I would support him forever, but I would not be attracted to him and I probably wouldn't be with him as his wife. That's just my opinion and preference, and it makes sense to me. But for my husband, it apparently was something wrong said by me. He thought that I don't actually like him, and if he ever changes even a little bit, I will leave him for good and never look at him again. I tried to convince him that it's not true, but he refuses to listen for some reason. Even after a few days have passed, he's still kinda angry at me, and whenever he looks at me, he makes that sad face to make me feel like he's really hurt. What do I do now to make him feel better? I've been with my husband 20 years and our bodies have changed over that time. That's normal. However, expecting to change your sex and with it your partner's sexuality is a different ball game. I'm not attracted to women. If my husband wanted to be a woman, I'd love the memory of who he was and hopefully support the person he is. But I would never be sexually attracted to a woman. And that's okay. Your husband is being ridiculous. I don't think you need to do anything to make him feel better. He's lying to himself if he doesn't think romantic attraction involves physical attraction, and that people have distinct preferences for physical attraction. You gave an honest and kind answer. His response is over the top. Honest question: do you think your husband is planning a gender transition? And that this strong emotional reaction is coming out of the fact that he is having a hard time coping with the loss of you as his wife if he does transition? I'd ask your husband if he'd stay with you and be attracted to you if you got a sex chance, including the top and bottom surgery. Would he still be your husband? It's ultimately the same thing. Unless he is also trying to figure out his sexuality. I once did this with an old boyfriend. I was seriously questioning my gender and asked him if we would still be together if I was a boy. He said that while I would still be a friend he'd like to spend time with, he wouldn't date me. I was pretty upset about it until my own mother said that it was in no way a fair question. I was not gay, and being upset by that fact was me trying to have my cake and eat it too. If I'd chosen to transition before we had started dating and then asked him out and he said no because he wasn't gay, I wouldn't have any grounds to blame him for that. It really isn't a fair question, and you need to tell your husband that while you love him, if he was a woman, he wouldn't be your wife, because you're not gay. It's unreasonable expect you to be. I think what's important here would be to kind of look into why he would ask that question and why he got so upset with your answer. Yeah, sometimes we ask our spouses silly questions for fun like would you still love me if I never shaved again? But this sex change thing might run a bit deeper here, who knows?